Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me for another monthly wrap up. I am your host, Voodoo Pickles, and today we're going to be talking about the books that I read in December. I was surprised we read anything at all in December. I was ridiculously busy at work, and we're going to also talk about a little yearly wrap up as well, just all in one little video. So thank you guys so much for stopping by and hanging out. I really appreciate every single one of you. And the first book that we read this month was called Shock Induction. This was written by Chuck Palahniuk, and I read it through an audiobook. It was about 6 hours and 21 minutes. And this book is, I didn't know, it was one of the newest books that he had published, and I was really surprised by that. I just happened to see it in my library app, and I downloaded it. Read it. It's really good. I read it through an audiobook, like I said, and this one was a weird one. Because the last Chuck Palahniuk book that I read earlier this year was Survivor, which was absolutely amazing. I really enjoyed Survivor. And this book talks about different types of hypnosis, whatever the plural of hypnosis, the different type of ways you can hypnotize somebody, as well as following our main character who is going through some really crazy things. As a teenager, going through all of these really ridiculous, crazy things into something that should be like trying to think of how to say this without spoilers, in a weird secret world type thing. And then there's a twist, and then it's weird, and then there's another twist within the twist. And I'm just like, okay. I had to stop and be like, what? And then rewind and be like, what just happened? I don't understand. And then I rewinded it, and then I had to re-listen to a couple of chapters. I'm like, oh, okay. I see what you did. I see what you did there. Trixie Hobbitses, I see what you did there. That's pretty neat. I got sick of hearing the word, a certain word in there. I think it's like it felt like a whole chapter of one word, which was just ridiculously amazing. And I really enjoyed this book. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5, and it was pretty good. I really enjoyed it. And the second book that we read this month was The Art of Avoiding Your Werewolf. This is written by Lola Glass, and I read this through an audiobook, and it was about 5 hours and 21 minutes. And this book, I wanted to read it because I needed something casual? Is that the word? I just needed something fun and non too thinky. And I was working a lot, and I was just like, I just need something kind of like second monitor type of thing. And this book it fit that in a weird way, but I didn't. It's a romantasy following our main character, who is a werewolf vampire hybrid. And she was made this way from being human. She was made into a werewolf vampire hybrid, and she and her friend are on the run from the vampire clan that made her, and they go into this one territory that belongs to the largest pack of werewolves with like the most alpha. And in the first chapter, she meets the alpha at a bar, and it's just following them. It's a romantasy, so it's following them on their relationship. The end, typical romance stuff, but I didn't care for the characters. I didn't like it. It was not a long book. It was 5 hours and 21 minutes. It was not a long book, and they smushed a lot in there, but they smushed a lot of like the sex scenes in there and did not smush in some story. So we get told a lot of the story after the fact of things happening, and I'm like, no, I want to know what happened. Like, one of the biggest major conflicts in the whole story, we get told what happened through text. So she's texting with somebody, except she's not she's just reading text of things that are happening around there with that whole conflict, and it's after the fact. And so I'm just like, okay. And I just, I understood I picked this book for something really easy, something just kind of, I want to say goofy, but not goofy. Just something like a palate cleanser. Just something just nice and kind of ridiculous and just whatever. So I was like, oh, this cute little romantic-y type of book, The Art of Avoiding Your Werewolf. I thought it was going to be more trying to avoid the werewolf. And I was like, are they going to be start playing cat and mouse? Is this going to be like a whole chase thing? Like, I would really like that. Like, is she running away from this werewolf? Like, I could see that. That sounded like a book I would be into, except it's not that. It's not that at all. The whole way she's avoiding the werewolf was stupid. It was stupid. And so, yeah, that was just, I'm not going to give away any spoilers to the book more so than what was in like the first chapter, which is most what I just told you. And it's just, the story was stupid. And I was really annoyed when it finished because I thought it was going to be longer. I thought this was like beginning of things stuff. And then it was like, okay, now we're going to get into the story. No, that's not what happened. It ended. And then those just ended. I don't know if it's supposed to be like a starting of a new world. I don't know if it is in a new world. I didn't look into it further than that because I was annoyed with it and it bugged me. I gave this a 2.75 out of 5. There was some parts in there that made me giggle. It made me giggle. So I was like, all right, 2.75 out of 5. And the third book we read was The Jinn Waits 100 Years. And this was written by Shubnam Khan. And this is a reread for me. I read it at the beginning of last year through an audiobook. And this one I read physically because my hubby, just being adorable and amazing like he does, bought me the physical copy of the book because I enjoyed it so much. And this was 308 pages. And I am going to be putting the Jinn Waits 100 Years, TLDR, and the full review unlisted, and then I'm going to have to re-record them because, like I said, I read this through an audiobook at the beginning of last year, and that was before I was taking notes actively of what I was reading. So I missed a huge plot line in this that I was just like, wow, I can't believe it. And so I read this physically, and the writing was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. So this is a dual timeline of following a girl who moved into a mansion with her father in Africa, and she's trying to figure out what happened in this house, as well as we learn more about the people, the residents who are in these apartments that are living in this mansion. And then back a few decades, what had actually happened with the original family who lived in this mansion. And it is very sad in it. It's very sad. It's just a beautiful it's a sad, depressing love story, and it is so great. The writing was so perfect. The house is personified in this, and that just the words is just, I sat there reading it and I was like, I want to pull out these quotes and just have them because they are so great. I really enjoyed the writing. This was a 5 out of 5 for me. I rated this through the audiobook a 5 out of 5. The audiobook narrator did a really great job of reading some of these words in a different language, which I don't know. and it's such a good book. It's such a good book. So I'm going to unlist those, and then I'm going to re-record them and re-upload those so that they will have that one major plot point that I was just like, I can't believe I did this. And I remember after recording those, I was like, oh, what book that I read had this one plot point that I was like, it wasn't this book, right? It was a different book. I don't know. No, it was this one. I just completely forgot about it. I didn't forget about it, but it was disembodied from the book in my head. So I'm going to re-record those and re-upload them, and they will be up on the channel. So it'll be great. And I don't want to let you guys know what it is because it is a spoilery thing. And the fourth book we read was The Boyfriend. This was the last book we finished in 2024. And this was written by Frida McFadden, and I read this through an audiobook, and it was a little over 9 hours. And this one was a really fun book in a really disturbing way. But I really enjoyed it. It was very fun. This is also a dual timeline. So we have our main character who is in the present, and she is she goes on a lot of dates. She's trying to find her happily ever after. She's living in this large city and she's trying to go on some dates and through, I already forgot the name of the app, but through this app, and she's trying to go on dates. She's trying to find her happily ever after leaving a relationship that she was in for a few years. And she goes on her, we follow her on this one date and it ends just terribly. It is a terrible date. Like, I was just listening through this. I was just like, oh, this is so terrible. This is just so horrible. And I feel so bad for anybody going through a date like this. And she meets a man, not through the app, but because of a terrible thing that happened on one of the dates. And she's really excited that she's like, yes, he's really attractive. And she's just kind of going through this. She has her group of friends that one of them's in a relationship that's going pretty quickly. And she's happy for her friend, but she's also jealous at the same time. She also has a friend who, like her, is going on a lot of dates. They're both in their 30s. They're both trying to find their happily ever after. And they're both annoyed and upset that it's taking so long. Except her friend is like, I think I may have found it. I think I'm been seeing this guy for about a year now, and it's always been off and on, and now it's just like it's really on right now, and I think we're gonna become exclusive and start dating and go through this. And she's super excited, super happy. Our main character is happy, but at the same time very jealous. And she continues to be this way, and she's just like, oh no. And then we find out that there's a murder. And every chapter or every other chapter goes back and forth. So we have her in the present with this murder, and she's trying to deal with all of this. And then we are back in the past with our other main character, and he is in high school. And this is in the past, and he is in high school, and he is trying to date this girl who he has decided, like, from when he was 4 years old, he's like, this is the love of my life. I want to marry this person. I want to live the rest of my life with this person. And there's also a murder that had happened in the past. And it's just, we're just following these two timelines and then where they start to intersect and everything. And there's a couple of twists at the end that I did not see coming. Like, one of them, I was pretty sure that it was going to end one way and it didn't. And I was just really surprised by it, which I'm not super surprised as I was with these type of books, because usually the ending is just, you read thrillers, you read these type of thrillers, you're just like, oh, this is kind of what it's going to be. And I thought that. I was very confident in who the killer was. And I was surprised. I was really surprised, and it was really great. I don't get surprised that often with these type of books, so it was really amazing. And I rated this a 4.75 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. There was a few things in it that I had to roll my eyes a lot at. But other than that, it was really good. And there was a fifth book that I DNF'd. I didn't read it, but I'm going to include it in here because I spent a lot of time on trying to finish this book, and I didn't finish it. This was Love and Other Conspiracies by Mallory Marlowe, and this was an audiobook that was also a little over 9 hours, and I listened to about 40% of it. And I DNF'd it at that 40%. Maybe it fully just kicked off after that 40%. It was amazing and awesome, but I looked at this and I was like, you know what? Conspiracy theories, cryptids, I love that. Yes, give me some more of that. Oh, and you're going to throw a love story in it? Yes, this sounds like my jam. This sounds like my jam, and it sounds like it would be amazing and awesome, and it was not. It was slow. It was, the main character was, I just wanted to shake her. I just wanted to shake her. Oh, like, you're like in your mid-20s. Like, why are you acting like you're 14 years old? You need to grow up. You need to grow up. Which was funny because her as a professional was very grown up, was very just like, okay, I understand the things that you're doing and it makes sense. And as an adult, yes, kudos to you on doing your adult things. But her as a person, and throughout the book so far, for what I got. She was very confused. Like, I was very confused with this character. At first, I thought she was like 18. I thought she was 18 because of how she was written. I was like, okay, no, you're 25. Okay, so you're not 18, you're 25, but you're acting like this. Okay. And then the book's like, she doesn't feel attracted to anybody. Romance isn't a thing for her. She felt only attracted to one person in her life, and that person broke her heart. Except now she's feeling attracted to somebody else, and she's just scared. Like, okay, so she doesn't feel attraction to really anybody except for these two people. Okay, I get that. I can go with this. And then it goes to, no, she's attracted to a lot of people, except she doesn't feel that other people would be attracted to her. And I'm like, okay, then why did you tell me she's never felt attracted to anybody before? Except for, there's a lot of except for, and a lot of, except for this time, and except for this time. And I'm like, well, you're telling me that she's not feeling this way about these specific things. Like, this is very rare for her. Except you're telling me later on that, no, it's not really rare for her. It's just she's very insecure. She's very insecure. I'm like, okay. And she is super insecure about everything. And her ex is a dick in this book. and the love interest in this is very convenient. And I've been using that word a lot with a lot of the media I've been consuming lately, but it's just it's very convenient for her at this point in time. And I'm like, okay, you promised me, you said love and other conspiracies, and they would be following conspiracy theories and cryptids, and their love would develop through this. I see their attraction from the get-go. They're not very subtle about it. There was even the one bed trope in here, and I was just like, you're giving me the love of it, but not anything else, and I'm not seeing why this should develop, but it's developing, and neither of the characters are, and I don't like it. And I tried to listen to this audiobook for like a whole week and a half, and I only got to 40% before I was just like, that's it, I'm calling it, it's done. But those were the books I read, and the one I didn't read in December. I was really surprised. We did finish 4 books. It was 482 pages. We listened to over 24 hours of audiobooks, and this month, the average rating was about 4.25, which was pretty great. I was looking at my December wrap-up on Storygraph, and it's pretty awesome. I was like, yay. 100% fiction books. I did not read anything other than fiction a lot of this year, but I was really surprised. This year, I read 78 books, and I only DNF'd the one book, and that was the one this past month. So that was pretty great. Yeah. Like, looking at my Storygraph for 2024, it was 78 books. The highest ranking genre was horror with 26 books. We read 26 different horror books. And then the next one was thriller, and then fantasy and mystery, which was pretty great. We read some bangers this year. Almost half of the books that I read in 2024 were audio. And then it was 36 books were audio, 30 were physically print, and then 12 were digital. And our number of books per author is a tie. We read 3 books from Anne Rice, and we read 3 books from Stephen Graham Jones, which is pretty great. Then after that, it's Chuck Palahniuk, Katora Asaka. There were 2 books from Allie Hazelwood and 2 books from Terry Pratchett, which is sad because I really love Terry Pratchett. I think I should have read more Terry Pratchett books this year. But I only read 2 so far. And our average rating for 2024 was 3.85. Out of all of them though, I did give a lot of 4-star books. And our lowest rating was 2 stars. Which was only 3 books. We only gave 3 books 2 stars, and then we gave 12 books 5 stars. So I think that's pretty awesome. But thank you guys so much for joining and hanging out with me. I really appreciated this one. This This video is going to be going up on Patreon first, so I'm going to put a link down in the description below for Patreon. I'm starting to stream also on this channel for video games. That's going to be on Sundays and Wednesdays. And then the videos will go up on Patreon on Mondays and then up publicly on Wednesday. So they'll get a few days earlier. And I'm going to start adding more content to my Patreon, start doing some reading. I don't know if it'll be vlogs or blogs, because I usually read while I listen to audiobooks reading at work, and then I'm downstairs like rolled up in a blanket on the couch reading physical or digital books. So we'll see how that works. I'm going to try and get some more bloggy type of videos up there so you guys can hear what I'm saying about the books as I'm reading them, and those will be Patreon exclusive. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. I'm really excited that I started reading this past year, and I'm really more excited to continue to read more. My goal for 2024 was to read 2 books a month. That would be 24 books, and we finished that pretty early in the year, which I'm really excited about it. I didn't think I was going to read that much, like it was going to take me so long to finish books, but we did it. We did it. And we're going to continue going into 2025 reading as much books. My goal is to read all of the books I have physically at least once. I've already read 2 of them twice already, and because they're just so good. They're just such good books. So that is my goal. Hopefully in 2025 we'll put a bigger dent in it than we did in 2024. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. You guys are amazing, awesome. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all of those YouTube things, and I will talk to you guys hopefully very soon. Bye.